All right, welcome everybody to Youngstown Studio here with our very special guest today, singer guitar player from one of the best new melodic AOR style bands out there today, Streetlight. This is Johannes Häger with us. Johannes, how are you?
I'm good, thank you. Thanks for having me. How are you?
I'm good, man. Congratulations on the new record. The new record's called Night Vision. It's out now via Frontiers Records. But yeah, man, tell me a little bit about this record and kind of how sort of the writing and recording process for this went as compared to the debut record.
Well, the procedure was pretty much the same. I work as a music producer here in I live in Sweden, in a town called Jönköping here in Sweden, and I work as a music producer. So I usually it was pretty much the same, both Ignition and Night Vision. I have a couple of ideas, and I start work with the songs in the studio, and then I make demos of the songs, and then I present them to the band, and then we pick the best songs.
So take me back to the beginnings of the band, man. I mean, what were sort of the I guess the influences or sort of the kind of the artists that inspired you guys to kind of all get together?
In the beginning, I have a friend, Erik, who's a guitar player, and he's a big Journey fan. And he read somewhere that Journey was starting to record a new album. So we thought, why not try to write a song and make a demo and send it to them and see what they think. So that's what he did, and he asked me for help to sing on it and also mix the track. So we sent it to Arnell, the singer in Journey, and he liked what he heard, but he eventually did not ever end up on the album. But so that was the beginning of the band Streetlight. So Erik is not part of the band anymore, but that was like the beginning of Streetlight. So Journey is, of course, big inspiration for us, and I also listened a lot to a band called Kansas when I was a teenager. So that's kind of like progressive, more on the progressive rock side of music.
Yeah. So did the song that you sent to Journey, did that end up on Ignition?
Yeah, that was the track Overjoyed.
Well, take me through a little bit of this new record. I think the first one you guys put out was Sleepwalker, the first one you put out for this?
Yeah, that was the first single. Yeah.
To talk to you about kind of how that track came together. It's a really, really awesome, catchy melodic rock track. I love all the vocal kind of back at like all the vocal phrasing you kind of have going on throughout the entirety of that song. But tell me a little bit about how that one came together.
If I remember correctly, I was actually writing a song for another artist. I work with all kinds of artists and bands in all kinds of genres as well, not only rock. So this was kind of more like a pop track. And as I was writing this, the melody and the chord progression and so on, I was thinking to myself, maybe this could fit Streetlight even better. So that was kind of the beginning of Sleepwalk, and then I started trying out some different sounds and the whole arrangement and stuff like that. So and I really love, the whole band loves doing backing vocals, and that was a big part of my like childhood as a teenager. When I was listening to music, I always loved the songs with big choirs and a lot of backing vocals on it. So
have you figured out how you guys are going to pull that one off live with all the added layers onto it? I mean, that's part of the fun. I mean, I'm in a band here too, and it's always fun making kind of the big studio records, and there's only three of us, so we'll go as a three-piece, and then it's like, okay, we have to kind of rework this a little bit to make it to where it works, where it's just the three of us kind of singing too. But yeah, I mean, have you thought kind of how that's all going to come together when you perform it live?
Yeah, well, we all everyone knows what part they will sing live, so hopefully it will go okay. But usually when I write a song, I usually see an audience in front of me, and I usually see the band on stage. So that's kind of a big part of the song and the band also, to we want the songs to sound good live as well.
Yeah. So I mean, will touring and live shows be a big part of kind of the next year for you guys, sort of in support of this record?
Sure hope so. We have no we're in contact with different booking agencies, but we have no agency at the moment. So that's kind of like the first step for us now to have someone helping us with getting in touch with promoters and stuff like that. So yeah, that's the next big step for us, I think.
What is sort of the melodic rock scene like over there in Sweden and kind of in surrounding parts of Europe? I've talked to kind of several bands over there. I think the most recent band sort of in your genre, I talked to Eric from the band Houston from over that way, and I think those guys are very good too. But yeah, what's kind of what's your sort of take on sort of the melodic rock scene, over where you're from?
Well, here in Sweden, we really love melodies. We have we have everything from ABBA to Roxette to Europe and so on. So Sweden loves melodies. That's always been like the case. And when we started Streetlight, I was actually kind of out of the genre. I had not listened to modern melodic rock for quite some time, actually. So first, when we started Streetlight, we thought maybe this is something new that we can bring to the table. But when I started digging, I noticed that there's a lot of melodic rock bands coming from Sweden. So and it's I think it's great. It's a lot of great bands coming from here, and many of us we know each other, and we meet at festivals and so on. So yeah, it's great.
One thing that I like about you guys, too, and you guys are on Frontiers, and Frontiers puts out a lot of stuff, but sometimes with you could tell that you're a producer as well too, and you're an engineer as well too. So some of the Frontier stuff, it sounds kind of samey, you know what I mean? Like where it's the same sort of production and the same whatever, and so like it's almost you go album to album, and you kind of can't really distinguish a lot of it, or it's not as distinguishable as maybe it would be if there was an outside sort of production to it. Where you guys don't have that problem. I mean, like it instantly kind of stands out. It's more of a yeah, there's more of kind of a modern edge to it a little bit too than what's going on, and it's not just so, I guess, sort of like washed. You know what I mean? Like I don't know if you know what I'm trying to explain here as far as the sound wise, where it's like there's almost too much reverb, or there's almost too much effect on it, and it kind of just everything just kind of gets to be, you know what I mean, like this one sort of just washed kind of sound. Where there's a lot more kind of dynamics sort of in your song. So where did you learn, I guess, recording and recording techniques and production techniques?
Well, yeah, well, thank you. I started playing drums was my first instrument. I started playing drums when I was like 11, but pretty quickly I realized that the drummer is at the back on the stage, not at the front. So I I switched and started playing the guitar instead. And I've always written songs. When I learned a new chord, I wrote a new song. So that was kind of the main thing with writing songs. I also wanted to record the songs. So me and my friends, we had some like small recording equipment. So when I was a teenager, so that's how that kind of started. But then I started producing other bands and artists as well, and I've been working now for like a little over 10 years as a full-time music producer.
Nice. So I want to get to some other songs on Night Vision here. The next one I want to kind of highlight is Captured in the Night. Another really rocking and catchy tune, but kind of how that one come together.
That's actually an older song. I had a project a couple of years ago, like a more hard rock project that did not see the light of day eventually. So but I had a couple of songs from that period. So Captured in the Night was one of those songs. So I brought it to the band, and they loved it, and so we kind of like made it more in the Streetlight kind of, with a Streetlight sound and stuff like that. Was yeah.
You guys have a good balance too. The next one I want to get to, you have a nice balance between more is kind of driving rocker songs, and then but you guys are really good at sort of the mid-tempo and sort of slower kind of ballad. I wouldn't say ballad so much, but sort of the more mid-tempo or slower ones. The next one I want to hit up is Learn to Love Again. I think that's another great song, super catchy. But yeah, what's the story behind that?
Yeah, thank you. I've always loved those kind of songs as well. I grew up listening to, like, you know, Hysteria with the Def Leppard, or yeah, songs like that. And I wanted to write a song in that kind of style. So I started with the verse on that song, I think. And I did the chord progression and the melody, and I always do the melody and the chord progression first, and then the lyrics come later. So I had this verse, and I tried a lot of different choruses before I came up with the one that we eventually went with. I have a little kid who is 2 years old, and he loves playing drums. So he was with me in the studio one day, and banging on the drums, and I was at the piano trying out some different chords for the chorus, and that I remember that was the time that when I finally found the right chorus at the same time as he was banging the drums. So you can hear it on my iPhone recording, he playing the drums at the same time as I'm recording the chorus.
Nice. Is it always that way where you kind of have the melody and the chorus sort of before maybe the rest of the song, whatever? Is that typically how you do it? Is just chorus first, you know, and or kind of find the big hook and then right around that?
Yeah, usually I have a lot of I usually start with the title of the song. I have a lot of words and expressions on my iPhone, things I've picked up when I listened, you know, watched TV shows or movies or stuff like that. And then I have well, you know, straight to video, for example, another track on the album. So that was, I had the like the straight to video expression, and then I wrote the melody after I had that expression. So yeah.
And so one more track I want to highlight here on Night Vision, and I like, again, I think it's a great record. I like the whole thing. But the next one I want to do is Fly with Eagles.
Yeah, that was a collaboration with Eric, who I mentioned earlier. He the guy who wrote Overjoy, the song. And so we were basically done with the record. We were choosing between like 2 or 3 songs to end the record, and then he came up with this a chord progression and a guitar riff for a chorus, and he sent it to me. So I listened to it, and I thought maybe I could do like a top line, a vocal melody over that chorus, or over the chord progression and so on. So that was the beginning of Fly with the Eagles, and then we eventually we thought this was this would be a good pick for this Night Vision album. So so a couple of songs had to, you know, step aside for this. So that was the last song that we chose for the Night Vision album.
Nice. So if you had to pick, let's say the 3 or 4 most, I guess, influential albums to you as a songwriter, where would, and this is kind of a broad thing, I know I'm putting you on the spot here, but what would you like your top 3 or 4 albums of all time be?
If I'm talking about writing for Streetlight, then it would be, the first record I ever bought was Hysteria by Def Leppard, as I mentioned. So that would absolutely be one of them. And then I listened a lot to Toto. So Toto 4. And then I have to pick a Kansas album as well. Which one should I choose? Maybe, well, let's pick Drastic Measures. That's kind of an odd record for them, but I like that one a lot. And then the Journey album, Raised on Radio, is my favorite Journey album, I think. Yeah.
So if you had to do, say, a 3-pack, like, you know, here's the first 3 songs that you should listen to, you know, to get into Streetlight, kind of as an introduction to the band, which what 3 would you pick?
From the Night Vision album, I think the first, maybe the first song, Long Distance Runner, Captured in the Night would be a good pick as well. And maybe something from the Ignition album, Shoots and Ladders from the Ignition album. That might be 3 good songs to start with.
But yeah, so any final thoughts before we go here? Like I said, what's sort of the rest of the year look like for you guys? You mentioned possibly looking for a booking agent and stuff. I mean, but also, do you know what the next single is going to be? Is there another one coming out yet from Night Vision?
No, Long Distance Runner was the last single for the album, so no more singles from the album. So at the moment, it's a lot of doing this, interviews and catching up with fans on Instagram and Facebook and stuff like that. And we've been recording a couple of unplugged live versions of the songs that we will be posting soon. And then we have a release concert here in Sweden in the beginning of May. So that needs a lot of preparation. So we actually don't rehearse that much, or we don't rehearse at all before the record. So but after the record is done, we start rehearsing the songs. so we're gonna do a lot of rehearsal as well, so just to get all the backing vocals right and stuff like that. So